Well, for those of you who don't know me, I'm the assistant director of the library. I've been with TCC for over 20 years. I was supposed to get my 20-year pin this week, but I guess I'll have to get it in the mail, I suppose. That's fine. This is actually my third campus I've worked on, and I've loved all of the campuses. Working for TCC has been great. So one of my favorite things about working at TCC is the opportunity to do a lot of different things. As a personal maker, I never used the term maker growing up. And when I was growing up, I was a crafter, and my family were DIYers. But now that the word maker has become part of the lexicon, I realize that's exactly what I am as a maker. I make a little bit of everything, and I always love learning new things to make. So about 6 years ago, a gentleman approached TCC and asked if we could host a maker conference on our campus. And back then we called it Fab Now, and Fab was short for fabrication, not fabulous. And for people in the maker world, or the makerverse as we call it, they understood that. Most people, though, who are new to making did not see that connection between fab and making. So last year we decided we were going to change the name after 5 years and convert it to MakerCon, so that it would be a little more universal. People would understand what we're talking about. And when we talk about making in an academic world, many times faculty will say, oh, I teach English, or I teach math, or I teach something that they for some reason think is not relevant to making. But what I'm hoping that everyone will come to understand is that making crosses the spectrum. It touches every piece of academia, every part of learning. Making is where students take what you've taught them and apply it to real world applications. Whether it is learning whether using algebra to learn how to solve a problem and then taking it to solving life problems, it all applies. So MakerCon, particularly this year, will be focused on making in academia. And we're going to get to that schedule in just a minute. But we just want to kind of give y'all a little sample, a little tease, if you will, of what it's like to make. So Jeanette, what's our next slide? What do we have coming up?
Oh, well, we have what is making to you. So
if
you could use the chat function, just go ahead and define making for yourself.
Yeah, tell us what you think making is. If you are a maker or you're not a maker and you think you know other people who are makers, what do you think, what does it mean to you?
And I'll play some music while you guys are responding.
Not the Jeopardy song, right?
No, I wish. Next time.
Oh yeah, somebody just said Jeopardy theme. Courtney, I'm sure you are a maker. By the end of this session, you will be a maker. I promise you. You will have made something. Expression. Oh, I like that, Peggy. Yeah, expression. Yeah. Whether it's artistic, engineering, problem solving, you are expressing something for sure. Guess everyone's making up an answer. Oh. De-stress time. Oh my God, yes. Thank God for making during this pandemic, and that I have making supplies in my house. It's kept me sane. Well, as sane as I am. Maybe, let's see, Johansson is sharing that the process of giving life to an object, physical or digital, and something that has to do with the enjoyment of the process. Oh, I like that. Enjoyment of the process. That's really good. Making is whatever you fix. Yeah, improve or create something if you have. Yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah, great, Jeanette. Taking things that aren't valuable and transforming them into something new. Yeah, the problem with that is now I'm not a hoarder, but everything is a potential project.
No, I understand that completely. I recently
even trash on the side of the road is like, oh, I can make something.
It's very true. For me, we had a shop here that used to be open, but it's now closed, unfortunately, because of the pandemic. It was scrap, and it was creative reuse, and I just loved going in there because you could get, a box of corks for, 25 cents, and they were about diverting stuff from the landfill. So that's kind of my thing, and I do get caught up in fixing things, and like if I see desks or whatever, I'm like, I can fix it.
Maybe we can bring that back to the Fort Worth area.
Yeah, one day. I hope so. That'd be nice, especially after the pandemic's over.
I'll share with you a little something at the end of the session that we might be able to make that work, or make it happen, I should say.
All right, so let's go with what Danielle was talking about earlier. So we're going to do a live make-along. So our next piece, you're going to need a piece of copy paper for. So we're going to do
paper, any color paper, doesn't matter.
Any kind of paper, actually. I'm going to actually use yesterday's schedule.
Somebody printed it out.
Talk about using stuff that's been discarded. So I'm going to go ahead and play this, and you can follow along. There's not any...
Give a chance to get a piece of paper.
Yeah. Don't worry, I'm not going to play yet.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have any narration. You kind of just follow along, and it's actually very soothing. It's very ASMR-y, so...
Hey, Peggy, we'll wait for you.
Yeah.
Go get the piece of paper. Doesn't matter what color, what shape, what size.
Exactly.
But wait, doesn't matter if something was written on it. Any piece of paper will do. Thanks for joining us, Eddie. Go grab a piece of paper. Doesn't matter what size. You'll make along.
Mm-hmm.
As we're talking about printing out things from home, I never went through my printer cartridges quite so fast as I do now.
Oh, really?
It has certainly made me reconsider before I print anything. And as a member of the digital first team, where we're trying to reduce paper use on campus, it's really made me look at that clearly. Okay, welcome back, Peggy. Great, get your piece of paper. Okay, if anybody does not have a piece of paper, please post something, say something in the chat, or raise your hand or something, because I think we're going to go ahead and get started. Right, Jeanette?
Okay, sounds good. I'm going to play, and let's make together.
He totally lost me, by the way.
I was just thinking the same thing. Like, I think, oops, I missed a fold. No, keep going. Some people are following along. Oh, yeah, John said he got lost too. Yeah. I tell you what, Jeanette, why don't we do this? Why don't we challenge people, instead of following this video, go ahead and make your own paper airplane, whatever style or design that you did as a kid, or you've seen done, or something really, really simple, whatever design you think. Go ahead and fold that up for us real quick. And let me just see. Hi, so I'm going to be doing one here too. If you want to draw designs on your paper airplane and, pin up pictures or give it a name or draw a little pilot in it, whatever you want to do to express your artistic side, you feel free to do that.
Are we going to get to see how he finished it?
Well, I think we were doing the picture on the left. The one that said easy. We all got lost. If that was the easy one, I don't want to see the hard one.
Really?
Story of my life, y'all.
All right, so okay, I got something going here. All right.
Oh, I like yours. Oh, you got paper clips.
See, I got paper clips.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, mine's just kind of like. And if you guys want to show off yours, go ahead and
turn on your camera. What you got?
And share.
You got it. I'm trying to see your picture. Profile. Doing the 360.
Oh, look at Eddie. Eddie and I are from the same school.
His looks exactly like the easy one. You have to get lost. That's exactly
Eddie,
what that
are you secretly a paper plane maker on the side? Well, Eddie is also a very talented artist.
Yes, he is. Very talented. And that is definitely making.
I wish I could throw mine and it go through your screens.
Oh, wouldn't that be cool? Jeanette, can you make that happen? Is it something?
No, I'm not that good.
Okay, next year's COVID Connections a Week, we'll figure that out.
That'll be so much fun. Yeah, and so I think Daniela wants to kind of go over like what's the point,
Okay, so in the chat room, I want you to write what academic disciplines did you just use to make this, or that would be involved in having people make an airplane like this. And then of course, see how far does it go. Ooh, y'all be impressed if y'all just saw my plane. Oh my gosh. I'm impressed. That went well. So type in the chat, what do you think, what academic disciplines, what skills, what techniques, geometry is listed. Yeah, great. So what else? What classes might use this exercise to illustrate something they're teaching? Communication. Oh God, yes, Eddie.
I was going to say technical communication, because we do a similar thing. We do a similar thing with Legos, where I basically give the whole class Legos and they break into groups, and then they have to create a structure, write the instructions, and then give the pieces to another group. And they're often baffled that the other group can't figure it out. And I'm like, because your instructions suck. And that's what we're here to learn.
Serious physics in your design over there. Wow. He's even got like air holes in the back from the hole punch.
Said architecture.
Architecture, right. Let's say if you were talking about this as a sample, but what makes the plane go farther? What can you add to your paper to get distance, to get lift? Visual description for giving clear instructions. Yeah. I mean, I know we just did a paper airplane, but the principles behind why paper flies are the same principles behind why a 747 flies. So the things that students would learn about that, whether it's aerodynamics, physics, math, geometry, wind systems, weather, meteorology, all of that can be illustrated with a simple making project. something like this, just folding a piece of paper where you get to talk about it. And I'll never forget, I went to a wonderful CTNL program a couple summers ago where they had us all make paper airplanes, and they said you could use any supplies on the table. And I mean, I don't have a background in aerodynamics whatsoever. Oh, I love trial and error. Yes, absolutely. I don't have a background in aerodynamics, so I'm thinking, well, I want it to be light, so it'll be lifted. But the planes that went the farthest were ones that had the most weight on them. And that blew my mind. Yes, it's the weight with the lift that made it go farther. So just the fact that I added 2 paper clips to my piece of paper, boom, it shot across the room. And I think the paper plane that went the farthest actually had a pen taped on the inside of it. And then they shot it across the room. And it went, because we had like a little race to see how far it would go. So that was just a wonderful illustration. It made me really see things very, very differently than if you just told me about aerodynamics or told me about how planes fly or any of that stuff, particularly for somebody like me without a background in that. So making activities really help. Oh, good job, Johnson. Oh, wow, that's fancy. It looks like a napkin.
You said it will never fly, but it looks good, right?
You can forks in it and put it on like a table, and then it becomes part of the culinary program.
Exactly.
See?
I liked what Peggy said about trial and error.
Yes.
It's really difficult in teaching that we're so afraid of failing, and we're afraid to let our students fail. And so something like this that's very small that we can all kind of do together and fail together spectacularly, we can learn.
Making, there are no errors in making or mistakes.
There's iterations. Yeah, there's iterations.
There's just this. So, you know, WD-40 was named because 39 versions didn't work. The 40th version worked, and that's why it was called Water Displacement 40, because 39 didn't work. So making and all of this activity that we're talking about is all about finding what doesn't work until you get to the thing that does work. It's not a mistake. It's go out and do it. Maker spaces, particularly, and I've been working with the Makerspace team under the Learning Commons. We've been designing maker spaces for the campus. And the whole point of a maker space is it gives students, like you said, Jeanette, a chance to find what doesn't work in a low cost, low pressure, it's no big deal. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. No big deal. If you don't want to put a grade to something like this, you can grade them on, did they get the math right? But in the making, it's about creativity and blossoming. And the biggest thing that making can do is promote cross collaboration. So if I were to do a class like this, and let's say, Jeanette, what class were you teaching with your Legos?
That was technical communication.
Okay, so in technical communication, let's say Jeanette was using this paper airplane as an example for technical communication, but she could also cross-collaborate with a physics teacher, an aerodynamics teacher, the aviation mechanics classes. That one project, you get all these people together and sharing in a project together. They've met each other, they've shared ideas, and honestly, when multiple people from different backgrounds collaborate and those different brains work together, coming at it from different angles, the kinds of things that are created are so much better than if you just keep it one subject and just keep it one type of brain. A perfect example is when I married my husband, like I said, I've always been a maker, and he did a little bit of making. He had some shop in school, but we have very different brains. He's kind of linear and I'm a little all over the place. And we have a wonderful workshop we just built in our backyard. And whenever I'm making something, I'll say, oh, I want to do this. And I usually get frustrated because I say, well, why don't you do it this way? And why don't you do that? And why don't you do this? And in explaining why I don't want to do that, we come with something better than either one of us had thought of. And I just love that synergy. The synergy, when it's right, you just, wow, that's more than I thought we could do. And making and maker spaces create that synergy. They create excitement. They get people excited about trying something new. And making by itself gives people confidence. I mean, when you see a student do something like this, even if it's just making a paper airplane, and their paper airplane went the farthest, there's a sense of confidence. There's that self-efficacy. And when they build that little bit of confidence, they can do so much more. So many of our students today, and actually just humans today, not even just students, but everybody, we're so far removed from how things are made. We feel dependent upon others. Like, oh, I need a mask for COVID. I don't know what to do. I couldn't possibly. They're all out of the stores. I'm going to go beat somebody up because they're out of the stores. Hey, you got a t-shirt at home? You got a shoestring at home? Make a mask. if you can make it yourself, if you know how things are created, you don't need to worry about pandemics and the stores being out of things like that, or any of this stuff. I mean, who knows what's going to come next? But the more you know how to create and how to sustain things and how to make it yourself, and the more you share these ideas with others, and we build each other up. And honestly, in this whole pandemic situation, when it first happened, and we were looking at there was a shortage of masks and the ventilators and everything, all the maker spaces across the country that had CAD files for ventilators and the P93 masks, they shared the files with everybody they knew. Nobody designed their own CAD file. Normally you have to buy those files. Shared them with everybody, and everyone in the 3D network was printing those suckers out like gangbusters. They were getting them out there as fast as they could. My 75-year-old mom in Louisiana was sitting there going through all of her fabric stash, making masks for everybody in Thibodaux, Louisiana. And then she didn't want to get outside, so she put them in a bucket in her driveway, and she put a post on Facebook and said, if anybody needs a mask, they're in the driveway, come get them. And gosh, God bless her, she made masks for everybody in town. And she went through a fabric stash, which is kind of nice. As a fabric hoarder, I know what that's like.
To speak to that cross-pollination, when I was teaching technical writing, we had just had the factory open up at UNT, which is a makerspace. Yeah. And we partnered with the factory to have students do projects. And then they actually ended up authoring a lot of the documentation and like how to use this stuff. And so that just shows, like, if you are in technical writing and you're partnering with people in like physics or how to use technology, it shows the value that writing has across disciplines.
One of my coworkers, Tracy Soto, I don't think she's in this call, but her son was in a class. I don't know what class. I'm sorry, I don't know what school. You'd have to reach out to Tracy. And she was telling about this project where they picked a time period in history, and I want to say World War I or World War II or something like that. He had to build a diorama of like a bunker on the battlefield. He had to write like a letter to a family member home. He had to design the costume or the uniform of it. He had to do the physics of the trajectory of the artillery and how far it would go. I mean, tying all this together, plus history. I mean, oh my God, do we still need to make the make-along video? Oh, no, Peg, we don't still need the make-along video. Hi. Great, thank you for reaching out. Yeah. So, I mean, there's just so many ideas, and I think once we really start becoming more of a maker culture and more people understand what this is, you'll see ideas that no one ever thought of before. Where we can go with this, where students can go with this. I mean, kids, middle schoolers are 3D printing prosthetic limbs for their friends. This is blowing my mind. The stuff that kids are coming up with because they haven't been told they can't do it. So they do it. They just jump in, you teach them how to do a 3D printer. They're making prosthetic limbs. I mean, it's just crazy. And I think the earlier we start doing this making mindset in all curriculums, in all classes, the sooner we can see a generation of people that are problem solvers, because the maker mindset is about solving problems. And I went to a great maker conference online a couple weeks ago. It was wonderful, to put up by NACI, which talks about entrepreneurialism. And my favorite quote of the week was, we need to stop asking people what they want to be when they grow up, and ask them, what problems do you want to solve? And then we'll train you for that. So whatever problem in the world you want to help solve, we'll get you the training for that. And sometimes, like in a makerspace environment, maybe you're not even majoring in that. Maybe I'm an English major, but I want to know how to do a 3D printer. So I'll go do that and maybe get certified on 3D printing. Now look at the job skills I have. When I go to get a job, I mean, my options are endless. I'm not defined by that one degree anymore. I've done all these things, or I've participated in a cross-collaborative project with the physics and the aeronautics and the meteorological department, or whoever. I'm not even going to try to limit it. Whatever combines. Let me just see, Jaws. When all you have is a hammer, everything looks in it. Oh yes. And when you look at a welder, everything is. I want to learn welding, John. Do you teach welding? That's my next craft to learn. I'm working on that right now, actually. So, Jeanette, do we have other slides other than MakerCon?
Yeah, we just have the MakerCon schedule. Do you want me to share it?
Well, I was wondering, if anybody wants to kind of jump in, share thoughts, share ideas, share questions, any feedback about maker mindset, making in your classroom, anything about that. I can weld badly. That's more than me. I can't weld at all. But when I built my workshop in the backyard, I intentionally put an outlet that would facilitate a welder just in case I ever learned. Okay, so no, I don't see any other questions, and we even lost Jessica. Sorry, she probably wants to jump in another session. So MakerCon coming up in October is absolutely free to anybody. It is virtual. We had to go virtual this year. Sorry, everybody. We were going to do hands-on making, and I promise you when we're back face-to-face, I will bring you a giant makerspace where you're going to get your hands dirty. You may not learn to weld, but I might teach you to solder. We'll start baby steps. So what we've got coming, we have Appathon each day in the morning. Tyson McMillan from Computer Sciences will be doing a 1-hour Appathon instruction. Anyone can attend this. It is virtual. He's using free online software. We'll do that 1 hour each morning from 9 to 10, and then on Friday we'll be judging the best apps, and we're going to be giving away prizes for the top 3 apps. We're hoping there'll be TCC scholarships. So then each of our daily sessions will be 11 to 12:30. They'll be live, team live, just like you're seeing right here, team live, and then the 2 to 3 will be networking. So this is more like the networking session that we're doing here. We can share. Okay. So we have the psychology of making during a pandemic. We talked about how making and creating kind of keeps you sane. The entrepreneur mindset and learning process. Heather Rissler from Iowa College did a wonderful presentation at NACCE talking about how the mindset that it takes to learn is the same mindset that it takes to create a business and to make. It's all that same process. It's solving problems. We're all about solving problems. Then we have badging in making. How the use of badges allows makers to verify employable skills. So the example that I gave before, where if I'm an English major but I want to learn how to use a 3D printer, I can get a badge in that, and that becomes part of my digital portfolio. And you'll see that afternoon at 2 to 3, we're doing a networking session where we're all going to build a digital portfolio, and you can see how you can kind of start collecting those badges and add whatever you want. So LinkedIn is kind of one of those digital portfolios. There's a lot of different ones out there. We just want to expose you to some different ones. On Thursday, we're doing design thinking. Austin Haynes, instructional designer from our Connect campus, will be doing design thinking. I have no idea he's there, but it's going to be more about how do you go about solving those problems, the mindset, and kind of training your brain to do those solutions. Then we have intellectual property. So if people are going to be making and creating things under your watch, you need to teach them how to protect their property. I know our students today are very like, oh, I don't care, I'm doing it for the good of the world. But what if you come up with something so good that you could actually have a business on this, or you could sell it? It's not fair that you're not protecting it. So Jelani Adlam is coming from the Michaelson Institute for Intellectual Property. They have a wonderful collection of online resources, many of them designed for educators, workbooks, textbooks, all kind of great resources to help your students learn how to protect what they've created. Some of our networking activities will be a make-along like we did today on Tuesday. We've got digital portfolios. Johansson will be leading us through some interactive fiction exercises, and then we'll have our closing and the Appathon Awards on Friday. So like I said, anyone is invited. Tell your friends, tell your loved ones. If you know anybody in K-12, we invite anybody to join us. It's designed for educators, but I say it's for educators and anyone who loves them, or wants to be one, or works for them. So we invite everybody to join. You can leave your feedback. So Jeanette, do you have the link to the page yet? Let me grab it for you.
Not as of yet, so you can find it.
The website is still we just got the new logo yesterday, and I don't have the final copy. I am so very sorry. And I don't think the link has been posted yet, but let me grab it. Because again, this is all last minute. We had to switch everything so quickly and we scrambled, but copy, and I'm putting the link to the website right there. So as soon as registration goes live, it should be this week. It's certainly Friday by the latest, where you can register online. And it'll be just like this, Teams Live, and then the Teams meeting, so we can do some interaction, we can share. I will also be providing all attendees with a resource directory of everyone who attended, all of the speakers, their contact information, and who's doing what. So if you want to partner with somebody that attended, you'll have their contact information. Hey, I see you, Jeanette, you teach technical writing, and I have aerodynamics class, and I want to write a manual for this tool. Can your students get together? Sure, let's partner together. So this conference, the resource guide, will help to foster those connections as well, and hopefully inspire you to bring some making into your life, whether in your academic world or even personally. So hopefully we'll do that. So any other questions? Thanks, Peggy. Interpreting collaboration as, Addie, yes, absolutely. That would be great. Are there any other questions or concerns? We went through this really fast, Jeanette, right?
Yeah, I know, right?
We shot through the airplane. We flew through that.
Oh, we flew. Oh, Lord. Oh, the dad jokes.
I just realized I'm sitting here. You can even see my weaving looms behind me. I've got a maker. I've got them everywhere.
Exactly.
That's not even my maker space. My shop is in the garage. I'm going to craft them, but the loom doesn't fit anywhere.
John says wah wah. But yeah, guys, making is life, especially for me. Like, I got my PhD in English. I didn't know what the heck I was going to do after that, but I figured out a way to make it work, and I feel like making is about solving problems, and I'm blessed to be able to make every day. So
Absolutely. I tell you, the first couple weeks that we were online, it occurred to me I hadn't even left my house in 2 weeks. Well, I cheat a little bit though, because my husband works for Lowe's, and so I have true home delivery. When I need supplies, I just text him and he brings it home from work. So I really don't have to leave the house.
Oh, Eddie is like, she just made a joke, Eddie.
Yeah.
True dad humor. True dad humor. Oh, wow. Anyway.
As do you, Eddie. You just made a joke too.
Well, definitely reach out to Danielle or I if you're interested in MakerCon. I think it's going to be really fantastic, and it's in October, which is my favorite month. But I'm really looking forward to all of the events.
Yeah.
So
we hope you'll join us. You'll be hearing more about it. We're going to send out a blast, of course. So everyone's overwhelmed right now. We'll be sending out a blast probably in September to kind of push the registration, but we hope you will join us.